Hey crochet friends! In this crochet tutorial, please join me in making this gorgeous pumpkin patch headband that will be fun to wear all autumn. This tutorial includes step-by-step instructions to make the pumpkin patch headband. It is made with simple stitches that sit between the more complex bullion stitches. It's a quick crochet project to make and great to learn and improve your skills in creating more complex stitches. However, I would advise perfecting the basic stitches before trying the bullion stitch. And once you've perfected the bullion stitch, then why not create a bigger pumpkin patch and make lots of these headbands for all your family and friends. Welcome back to my channel, or hello if you're new. I'm Pauline from Making Polly, and I'm so delighted you can join me for this crochet tutorial. For this tutorial, you will need double knit cotton or bamboo yarn. I have used Viking Garn Bamboo Yarn, and the details are in the description. For the pumpkin patch headband that I've already made, I used a beige colour as the main colour. And for this tutorial, I'm going to use this blue colour as the main colour, and the orange and green for the pumpkin and pumpkin stalks. When choosing your yarn for the pumpkins, ensure that the yarn does not split easily, which would cause the bullion stitches harder to make. The other colours of this yarn that I've used can split easily, but funnily enough the orange doesn't. I have discovered this in other yarn brands also, that the orange colour is quite sturdy and holds together well, so is perfect for making the bullion stitch. You will also need a 3mm crochet hook, which would roughly be a D3 in US terminology, and a 4mm crochet hook, which would roughly be a G6 in US terminology. The reason for the 4mm hook is to work the foundation chain. We naturally work our foundation chains with a tighter tension or gauge than the rest of our crochet, and if we work our foundation chain in the same hook size as the rest of our crochet, particularly a long foundation chain, we can end up with an unwanted curve in our work. So I do recommend using a larger hook size for your foundation chain. And you will also need scissors for cutting your yarn, a tapestry needle for sewing in your ends, and a measuring tape. And before we get started, first let's talk about the length of the headband and the number of foundation chains to start with, so that you can work out how long you would like your headband first and then decide on what part of the headband, if any, will be altered in length, which will in turn determine the number of foundation chains needed. I've included this information in the description so you can refer to it also. So not to sound big-headed, but my head is actually physically bigger than most heads. Thankfully I can crochet because I can never find any headwear to fit, but that's another story. The length I have made my headband is 108 centimetres or 42.5 inches in total. My head measures 61 centimetres or 24 inches circumference around the entire edge of my hairline, where the headband will sit. So if you measure the circumference of yours around your entire hairline, you can judge whether you would like to increase or decrease the foundation chain. The headband is designed to be longer and tied with a knot at the back, with tails hanging down the back. Mine are quite short at 14 centimetres or 5.5 inches, but you may wish them to be longer. Now let's talk about the three sections of the headband and where you could alter the length if needed. The middle section is the section with the pumpkins. I've made 6 pumpkins on my headband. I find that many works well to sit at the front of my head between both my ears, and I'm happy with how they are spaced. For each of the pumpkins we need 5 stitches, 2 stitches that are missed or skipped either side, and the bullion cluster for the pumpkin that is worked into the middle stitch. Then I have 6 stitches between each pumpkin, so from the beginning of the first pumpkin to the end of the last pumpkin, there is a total of 60 stitches, and the length is 32.5 centimetres or 12.8 inches. Again, measure around your hairline between your ears, as you may want to alter the length here by either reducing the number of pumpkins or the spaces between by reducing the number of stitches in every space between. But remember, the 5 stitches for each pumpkin are fixed. The other 2 sections are the 2 sides before and after the pumpkins, and they are symmetrical. I have a total of 74 stitches either side, and with the 60 stitches for the pumpkin section, I have a total of 208 stitches for my whole headband. If you are happy with the pumpkins as I have made them between 60 stitches, but you want to alter the length of the headband, then either increase or decrease the same number of stitches at both sides. Also, the headband is tapered at both ends. I have used 3 different lengths of stitches. So if we call them short stitches, then medium stitches, and then long stitches, and they are worked on rows 1 to 3. There are 20 of each of the short and medium length stitches and 34 of the long stitches. It will probably be that the best place to increase or decrease the number of stitches to ensure the headband fits your head is within the 34 long stitches. But also, if you would like longer tails that hang down at the back, then increase the number of short and or medium stitches at both sides. So let's get started. With the main colour for your headband, make a slip knot. If required, you can refer to my how to make a slip knot tutorial, and you'll find the link in the description. Then insert your 4mm hook into the loop, ready to make your foundation chain. You can also refer to my how to make a foundation chain tutorial. The link is also in the description. Work the required number of chains for your desired length of headband. I have worked 209 chains. As we are working a long foundation chain, it is best to mark every 20th stitch with a stitch marker. I have used a contrasting colour of yarn to do this, and have inserted leftover ends into each chain to be marked. Continue working your foundation chain and marking every 20th stitch. You can pause the video here to do so. Now we will change our hook size from using the 4mm hook to using the 3mm hook. And we're now ready to start working row 1, which is a wrong side row. First work 1 UK double crochet, which is 1 US single crochet in the second chain from the hook. Then continue working 1 UK double crochet, which is 1 US single crochet in the next 19 chains. You can pause the video here to do so. Now work 1 UK half treble crochet, which is 1 US half double crochet in the next 20 chains. You can pause the video here to do so. Now work 1 UK treble stitch, which is 1 US double stitch, in the next 128 chains. You can pause the video here to do so. Now again work 1 UK half treble crochet, which is 1 US half double crochet, in the next 20 chains. You can pause the video here to do so. And finally work 1 UK double crochet, which is 1 US single crochet, in the last 20 chains of the row. You can pause the video here to do so. And when you have finished row 1, you will have one less stitch than the number of foundation chains that you made. I have 208 stitches, and you can now remove your stitch markers if you wish. And we will now move on to working row 2, which is a right side row. First turn your work and work 1 chain, which does not count as a stitch here and throughout the pattern. Then as row 1, work 1 UK double crochet, which is 1 US single crochet, into each of the next 20 stitches. You can pause the video here to do so. Then again as row 1, work 1 UK half treble crochet, which is 1 US half double crochet, into each of the next 20 stitches. You can pause the video here to do so. And we will soon be coming on to the middle section of the row where we will work our pumpkins. First work 1 UK treble crochet, which is 1 US double crochet, in the next 33 stitches. You can pause the video here to do so. In the next stitch, start working another UK treble crochet, which is US double crochet. Then we will change colour on the last yarn over to our pumpkin colour. Then for our pumpkin, we will work a cluster of 5 bullion stitches. Before we do this, I did want to let you know that there is a technique to make a bullion stitch using 2 hooks at the same time. However, this is a technique that I've personally not got to grips with. There are tutorials on YouTube to show you how to use this technique, so feel free to search for them and try it. It may work for you a lot better. For now, I would love you to follow my instructions and please let me know how you get on. To work one of the bullion stitches, wrap the yarn around your hook 10 times. Keep your tension quite loose as you are wrapping, which will help towards making the bullion stitch. Then we will skip 2 stitches and work into the next stitch. So insert your hook and pull up a loop, then yarn over hook and we will pull through all 12 loops on our hook, which you'll find is difficult to do, but this is what I do. After pulling through the first 2 loops, I then pull through each loop individually, holding them with my finger and my thumb. But you have to do this very carefully so as not to pull the loops too much, which can result in loops that are too baggy within the stitch. Just gently hold on to the loops as you pull your hook through. And it should be quite easy to pull your hook through after keeping your tension quite loose when you are wrapping the yarn around the hook. Any loops that do become a little bit baggy looking, you can fix them by pulling the working yarn and the yarn tail and by pulling the already worked loops down the stitch. And when you have finished working your first bullion, you can manipulate the stitch slightly so that it will sit neater. So let's just go over that again. Wrap your yarn around your hook 10 times while keeping your tension nice and loose. Insert your hook into the same stitch as the previous bullion stitch and pull up a loop. Then yarn over hook and pull through the first 2 loops. Then pull through each of the other 10 loops, doing them individually while gently holding onto the loops with your finger and thumb. Then you can manipulate your bullion stitch at the end to make it sit neater. Continue making 3 more bullion stitches into the same stitch as the previous 2 bullion stitches. You can pause the video here to do so. And you have now created the main part of your first pumpkin. Work 1 chain while changing colour back to the main colour of the headband. So push the colour used for the pumpkin to the wrong side of your work and work the chain with the main colour of the headband. When working the stitches between the end of this pumpkin and the beginning of the next pumpkin, carry the unworked yarn for the pumpkin. Firstly, skip the next 2 stitches, then work 1 UK treble crochet, which is 1 US double crochet, into the following 5 stitches. You can pause the video here to do so. In the next stitch, start working 1 more UK treble crochet, which is 1 US double crochet, and on the last yarn over, change to the yarn colour for the pumpkin. Then repeat the sequence of creating the pumpkin with the 5 bullion cluster and the skipped or missed stitches either side, and then the 6 stitches after, another 4 times. And then create 1 more pumpkin. You can pause the video here to do so. Then skip the next 2 stitches and work 1 UK treble stitch, which is 1 US double stitch, into the next 34 stitches. You can pause the video here to do so. Then work 1 UK half treble crochet, which is 1 US half double crochet, into the next 20 stitches. You can pause the video here to do so. And finally work 1 UK double crochet, which is 1 US single crochet, into the last 20 stitches of the row. You can pause the video here to do so. And at the end of round 2, you will have 208 stitches and 6 chains. The 208 stitches includes the 5 bullion stitches that make up the pumpkin clusters. And now we will move on to row 3. So turn your work, then chain 1, and first work 1 UK double crochet, which is 1 US single crochet, in the next 20 stitches. You can pause the video here to do so. Now work one UK half treble stitch, which is one US half double stitch, into the next 20 stitches. You can pause the video here to do so. Now work one UK treble stitch, which is one US double stitch, into the next 34 stitches. You can pause the video here to do so. And now we will work into the top of our first pumpkin. First we will skip or miss the chain, then work one slip stitch into the back loops only of the first 2 bullion stitches. And into the top of the middle bullion stitch we will create our pumpkin stalk. So working into both loops at the top of that stitch, start working a slip stitch. Then change colour to the pumpkin stalk colour on the last yarn over of that slip stitch. Then chain 1 and work 2 UK double crochets, which are 2 US single crochets, into that same stitch, while working over the unworked yarn and the yarn tail. Now we will change back to the main colour of the headband. So first, as we are working a wrong side row, take the working stalk colour yarn and the end round to the front of your work so that it can be dropped at the wrong side. Then work a slip stitch into the same bullion stitch while changing colour to the main headband colour on the last yarn over. Then work one slip stitch into the back loops only of the next 2 bullion stitches. Then work one UK treble stitch, which is one US double stitch, into the 6 stitches between the pumpkins. You can pause the video here to do so. Now just take a moment to cut the yarn on the last pumpkin stalk, ready to begin the next pumpkin stalk. Now let's work across the top of the next pumpkin. First we will skip or miss the chain 1, then work one slip stitch into the back loops only of the first 2 bullion stitches. Then we will create our pumpkin stalk into the next stitch. So working into both loops of the next bullion stitch, insert your hook to start working a slip stitch and change colour to the pumpkin stalk colour on the last yarn over of that slip stitch. Then chain 1 and working into the 2 loops of that same stitch and over the main colour of the headband and the yarn end of the pumpkin stalk, work 2 UK double crochets, which are 2 US single crochets. Then we will change back to the main colour of the headband. So first, as we are working a wrong side row, bring the working end of the pumpkin stalk colour and the yarn end around to the front of your work to drop it at the wrong side. Then work one slip stitch into the top of the same bullion stitch and change colour in the last yarn over to the main headband colour. Then work one slip stitch into the back loops only of the next 2 bullion stitches. Now repeat the sequence of working one UK treble stitch, which is one US double stitch, into the 6 stitches between the 2 pumpkins and the stitches across the top of the pumpkin, including the pumpkin stalk, for another 4 times. You can pause the video here to do so. And now we will work across the stitches at the other side of the headband. First work one UK treble crochet, which is one US double crochet, into the next 34 stitches. You can pause the video here to do so. Then work one UK half treble crochet, which is one US half double crochet, into the next 20 stitches. You can pause the video here to do so. Then finally work one UK double crochet, which is one US single crochet, into the last 20 stitches of the row. You can pause the video here to do so. And at the end of row 3 you should have 18 more stitches than the previous row. This includes the 4 stitches for each of the pumpkin stalks. I have a total of 226 stitches. Now we are ready to work the fourth and final row of the headband. So first turn your work, then again chain 1. Then we will work 1 UK double crochet, which is 1 US single crochet, in each of the stitches to the first pumpkin. So that's 74 stitches. You can pause the video here to do so. Now we will work across the top of our first pumpkin, and we will work into both loops of the top of the bullion stitches that are 2 rows below, and over the slip stitches on row 3. Work 1 UK half treble crochet, which is 1 US half double crochet, into the top of the first 2 bullion stitches. Then chain 2 behind the pumpkin stalk, and then work 1 UK half treble crochet, which is 1 US half double crochet, into the next 2 bullion stitches. Then work 1 UK double crochet, which is 1 US single crochet, into the 6 stitches between the pumpkins. You can pause the video here to do so. Then let's work into the top of the next pumpkin. Again, we will work into both loops at the top of the bullion stitches that are 2 rows below and over the slip stitches on row 3. Work 1 UK half treble crochet, which is 1 US half double crochet, into the top of the first 2 bullion stitches. Then chain 2 behind the pumpkin stalk. Then again work 1 UK half treble crochet, which is 1 US half double crochet, into the top of the next 2 bullion stitches. Now repeat the sequence of working 1 UK double crochet, which is 1 US single crochet, into the 6 stitches between the pumpkins, and then working the stitches across the top of the pumpkins as before, for another 4 times. You can pause the video here to do so. Then finally work 1 UK double crochet, which is 1 US single crochet, in each stitch to the end of the row. This will be 74 stitches. You can pause the video here to do so. And at the end of round 4 you should have 6 less stitches than you started with. So I have 202 stitches. Plus you will have 6 chain 2 spaces. Now you can cut your yarn and pull your end through. Then sew in all your ends. Well done, friend, you have now finished making your pumpkin patch headband. Now you just need to tie it in a knot at the back so that you can enjoy wearing it. First fold your headband in half and then tie a knot at the back. You may need to leave the knot loose and try it on your head to see how tight you would like it before finally tightening the knot. Luckily I've got the one that I've already made to check the length that I need. I really hope you've enjoyed the tutorial for this pattern as much as I have loved designing the pumpkin patch headband. In fact, I've enjoyed it so much that I'm now designing some Christmas themed headbands. So stay tuned for more tutorials. Thank you so much for joining me for this fun crochet tutorial, friend. I would really appreciate it if you liked and shared this video and left me a comment. And please don't forget to subscribe for more fun and informative crochet tutorials. Happy crocheting!